Alright guys, today we're going to be going over some of the best baits for ponds to use in ponds all year round. We're just going to cover all of our favorites that catches the most fish. We're going to start off with finesse worms. Something like a trick worm from like Zoom trick worm, Zoom finesse worm, any small worm like this works really well for bass that are really pressured in ponds, which a lot of ponds are here in Florida because a lot of them are like in places such as behind people's houses, on a main road. So a lot
malls,
of people, malls like everywhere. So a lot of people go to them. So the fish are really pressured, and sometimes you're gonna be forced to use something small and finesse like this, which not really moving so erratically, and they'll get it over something big and bulky just sometimes because they're pressured. Some of my favorite colors are watermelon seed, and if you're into bass fishing, you already know what that color is. Black and blue for darker waters. White works really well around the spawning season, especially on beds. And something like this would be really good too. This like a fry. It looks like a French fry. And this you would want to wacky rig it or
drop shot rig
or nose rig it for a drop shot, something like that. A Texas rig would work with like a 2-aught, maybe 3-aught. And these regular trick worms or finesse worms, you want to Texas rig them with a 3-aught, depending on the size of the worm, or something like this, which is a little smaller. You can drop shot it, so you nose rig it with either a circle hook or a wacky rig hook, which is better. In some people's opinion, they like using circle hooks, and it's a really good technique for catching fish, especially and also ponds where there's not a lot of big fish, just small fish, and that works really well for that.
Now we got Senko. Senko's pretty much a year-round bait. This is my favorite color, is bait fish, which is gray back with white belly, and that was in the 4-inch. I use this one mostly to wacky rig. This one we use it mostly to Texas rig, but when the fish are in the springtime, when they're spawning, whatever, I'll throw it on the wacky rig hook, and that's pretty much a year-round bait.
Senkos are pretty much our favorite bait. We use that all year round. Depending on the color, it can mimic a sunfish, bluegill, mullet, a worm, anything really. Depending on the color, it can mimic a whole bunch of different types of bait fish, night crawler, anything that bass like to eat.
Next we got flukes, which these are the Zoom Super Flukes. My favorite color is in albino, then blue glimmer, and white pearl. Alright, that's pretty much a year-round bait. You can use them on a double Zulu rig, which is 2 Texas rig hooks, which extra wide gap, on 2 leaders running to 2 barrel swivels. You got a barrel swivel on your main line, and you got a barrel swivel going to your longer leader going to your fluke. That you can use them around springtime, like spawning season, when the fish are schooling, but most of the time I Texas rig it.
And you want to use it around the shad spawn would be really good. Early morning, you just want to go out there really early when the sun is starting to go up, and you throw it, something like that, like a fluke or something to mimic a bait fish, and you'll get hooked on some bass. Next we're going to be going over swim baits. This is just Lake Fork, I'm not sure,
Live Magic Shad and
Live Magic Shad, and this is a Sassy Sally from Bass Pro. And these are just, they mimic a swimming fish, like if they're swimming around. They work really well. You can Texas rig them with an extra wide gap.
That one I usually nose hook it on a drop shot rig for bedding fish, like peacock bass here in Florida, like mostly Miami. Peacock bass, largemouth bass, you nose rig it on a drop shot, just twitch it right on the bed.
Yeah, swim baits are very versatile because you can use them around. If you have them hooked with a Texas rig, with an extra wide gap, and you can use them around lily pads, around any type of vegetation. Really.
Top water.
You can use them top water. You can crawl it around along the bottom. It's not really ideal for that, but it's mainly for middle, like the middle of the water and the top, which is top or subsurface is, in my opinion, one of the best techniques for fish that are aggressive. And swim baits, you just want to use them in a white, depending on where you live, get a different color to match the hatch, what people say, to match the color of the bait fish that are living in your area.
But also, back to the flukes again, I forgot to mention this. You can use this on top water too, just reeling it in.
And twitching it really fast.
Twitching it sometimes.
And it has a very erratic movement on the top of the water. Like if the bass sees that, they'll think that they'll think it's a fish trying to escape from them.
Yeah.
And they'll get a reaction, you'll get a reaction strike, and they'll just blow up on it really fast. Next we're going to cover some creature baits. Creature baits work really well around ponds that have a lot of vegetation. And the vegetation can be on the top and you want to punch through it, or maybe on the bottom and you can just crawl it along the bottom. Some of our favorite baits for this, something like a pit boss from Berkeley, or a baby brush hog from Zoom.
The watermelon seed, watermelon red.
Or this little bait is from Bass Pro. Something like a reaction innovation sweet beaver, or I think it's called a sweet beaver. You want to use, depending on the water clarity, you want to use, this is a really good color, electric blue. Watermelon seed is a very good color too. Watermelon red. This is a little like a more finesse type creature bait. You can rig it with a 1-aught or
use it
2-aught.
on ledges, drop offs.
Yeah, around rocks if you live up north more.
And just twitch it really, really slow.
And depending on if it's like
highly vegetation like hydrilla, lily pads, you can punch those.
Yeah, and depending on like how much vegetation is how much you want to go up on your weight. If it's barely any vegetation and using it on rocks, you have it on a shaky head or something, you can use like a 1/8 ounce tungsten. But if you're dealing with like small, like light vegetation, maybe like a 1/4 or a 1/8 or
1/8 ounce.
Yeah, a 1/4 or 3/8. If you're
3/8,
dealing with a little vegetation but not too much. But once you start getting where it's basically like Florida, that you have to punch through it, if not it won't sink, then you want to go at least 1/2 ounce, depending on how bad it is. 1/2 ounce, 1 ounce, maybe more if you have to.
Next thing is jigs. I like to use these around spawning season, pre-spawn. Mostly this pre-spawn, when the water gets really muddy, I'll use a black and blue jig with Strike King rodent on the back. This is watermelon, the same exact color. I'll throw on this just to change the appearance on it a little bit. And the other color, when the water starts to clear up a little bit, I'll use watermelon seed, jig skirts, and the Strike King rodent and watermelon seed.
And the white.
And the white jig, this is a Strike King Bitsy Bug. I'll use this around small beds, like for small bedding bass. Whenever the big ones aren't around, I'll throw this with a little U-tail worm for like crappie or whatever, and that usually gets me the fish.
When there's a pond with a lot of vegetation on top mainly, something like lily pads, hydrilla, anything like that, you want to use something like a frog. Like a hollow body frog maybe. You can use like a soft plastic frog, but it's better with these because it just stays submerged, like it stays on top of the water, it doesn't sink. And you want to use something to represent, don't buy like weird colors, just buy the
natural
top,
colors.
Yeah, natural
top
colors.
Doesn't really matter.
The top doesn't matter because they don't see that. All they see is the bottom. And you want to use them as cloudy days is really good. Like cloudy and it's kind of dark.
Morning, sundown.
And if you're going for like more summertime when it's hot, You want to use it especially around lily pads because the bass will sit under it.
In the middle of the day, though.
Yeah, in the middle of the day, like at 12, just so they can get shades, so they can stay cool. And also the Life Target Sunfish is a really good bait for clear water. It works fine, and if there's also some vegetation, lily pads, hydrilla, anything on top, it works well. And instead of mimicking a frog, it just mimics a sunfish, and you can twitch it, and it walks the dog, as you call it in bass fishing. Next, we're gonna cover some top water, but trebles. This is a spook, like a spook type bait. This is a bomber, but it's for saltwater, but it works the same. This, it just walks. You can walk the dog, and it twitches from side to side. And something like a popper, it blows up water from the little lip that it has in the front, and it gets the fish's attention from that popping noise and that movement that it makes in the water. And they're really good around the summer, around the shad spawn, and just to mimic bait fish, and they'll pretty much eat it. Especially if they're aggressive on aggressive ponds.
Next we got lipless crankbaits. This is my favorite one to use. Is Sexy Shad. You can use this around grass lines, rocks,
and how you have to use it, you just rip it. Like when you feel it gets stuck in the grass, you rip it out, and you get the reaction strike because it gets stuck. And as soon as you rip it out, you feel that you get most of the bites when you rip it out of the grass.
Same with square bills. You use that around rocks too.
Yeah, the square bill, you just want to use it against rocks, wood, and you get a reaction strike from when it hits the hard surface, and it bounces back, and you get that reaction strike. Another bait that is essential to Miami fishing for peacock bass is crappie jigs. I know you guys might be like, why are you guys using crappie jigs for peacocks? Peacock and crappie jigs are really good bait for peacocks, especially when they're not as aggressive to bite a fluke or a topwater bait or something just more that has more movement. Something like this, more finesse, might get their attention more than something bigger.
Not only that, peacock bass only really eat small bait fish. They don't really care for the big stuff. I mean, yeah, if you throw a big old chiner and they're like this big, they'll eat it. But most of the time, when you're using lures, this is the bait to go with. Just twitch it up and down
like you're jigging it,
like jigging pretty much. But put like 2 or 3 feet up the water column and then let it sink again. Twitch it up more, really aggressively though.
Yeah, just you want to use it on spinning gear. Don't use it on baitcaster. It's really light. It's really finesse. Just use it on a light spinning reel, maybe with like 20-pound braid, 10-pound braid, and something really light. Don't go heavy.
Not like I use 8 to 10-pound test monofilament. I use Suffolk Siege on this.
And another technique, if the peacock bass sometimes they get really picky for what they're eating.
Like sometimes they'll just swipe at it and not hit it.
A lot of the time.
Jig it even harder.
So what you want to do is you add a 100% fluorocarbon leader just so they don't see the line. Like if you're using braid, just add a fluorocarbon leader so they won't think that it's fake or something. So they'll get it, because a lot of times they just swipe at it and that's it. And sometimes you won't even see them. They'll just leave. So you want to make sure that you take the opportunity that they're there and they want to eat it, and so you can catch some nice peacock bass. As you can see on his channel, I'll leave it in the link below, that he's caught a lot of fish on crappie jigs, and you'll see in his videos. I haven't really made videos on that. They're coming. We're planning to go tomorrow to a peacock bass spot that he's been in his other videos. Hopefully we get hooked on some pretty nice peacocks.
But this bait is mostly for like sight fishing. When you're sight fishing, you want to use polarized glasses. Me personally, I use Oakley's Holbrook, I think, and fuel cells. You gotta have polarized glasses when you're fishing for peacock bass, because a lot of times they'll swim away from the bait and then come back again. But a lot of times you won't see them because of all the glare on the water. So
Yeah, polarized glasses are just made to cut the glare. Like, that's basically it. That's the main thing that they're for. Just to cut the glare so you can see inside the water, and you can see clear. Like, you can see deeper in the water, versus not having any glasses at all.
Yeah.
Alright guys, let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this, tips and tricks, or if you guys want to see something like vlogs in my channel. He's starting to do that, so if you want, go check him out. He has all types of fishing, saltwater, peacock, largemouth, anything you want to see, go check out his channel.
His channel will also be in my video link description too, so
Yeah, we're going to be fishing a lot now in the summer together, so you guys will be seeing more videos.
shout out to LMB Fishing. He just commented on my vlog right now.
Thanks for the support for both of us.
Yeah, thanks bro.
Alright guys, that's it. Best baits for pond bass fishing. Let us know if you liked it. Leave a comment below. We out.